like 6 or 7 years ago when I like hit rock bottom. I lived in Connecticut, had family drama, getting depressed. Like it was bad. Went through a divorce, all of that stuff. And I was just over it. I packed up my car with my 2 kids, left to a state that I never even visited. Never even visited. Didn't have a job lined up. Didn't like really have like our own place. Nothing. Stayed with a friend for a week. And from there got a job, got my apartment. Like I did everything. But sometimes you look back and you're like, I was letting myself drown. And sometimes you have to take a step back, just breathe, and then just look at things with a different set of eyes and see it like, okay, what is the world trying to teach me right now? This is happening because there needs to be some sort of shift.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Be the Connection podcast, where we dive into stories of community, mentorship, and success. My mission is to bring you inspiring conversations, real insights, and the kind of value that helps you grow. So grab a seat, settle in, and let's get connected. Today's guest is a really special one to me. She has been there for me through thick and thin. She is like the boss. And she's amazing at what she's done and what she continues to do every day. And so, Jennifer, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much. By the way, I have to say something because I love your name, Be the Connection. I love that. That's really smart.
Yes. I wanted to make sure that people know, hey, no matter who you are, there is a connection between you and someone out there, whether it's business, we all come together and we are where we are because of other people. And of course, everything that we do, right? We put action into it, but there's people there in our lives that support us, and we go out and look for them and we make sure that they're there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? And that's true in any business. Connections are extremely important, regardless of the industry. Like you have to know other people that, can possibly help you out and help you grow and scale. There's no way that anybody can say that they've done it 100% themselves with no connections. Like it's just nearly impossible.
Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, some background, and what it is that you're doing.
So my background, when I started, I was in the medical field for many, many, many years. And of course, COVID came and it decided to change my life forever. So I was in healthcare management, for a very long time. And I felt like I wasn't growing as a person. I felt very, stagnant. It was just the same thing every single day. And I'm like, okay, I'm already at the top. I'm running, a general surgery practice of like 30 people. I'm like, I need a change. I just don't know what. COVID actually forced that for us because had I not gotten laid off because I decided not to get the second dose of the vaccine while I was pregnant, I probably would have still been in the same place. But I had to feel uncomfortable. God knew exactly what he was doing, and we prayed about it and made the decision not to get the COVID vaccine, which now looking back, right, that was like the first thing that triggered this whole like domino effect of changes in my life. So from there, after I had the baby, I wanted to do something from home and I got into healthcare insurance. So I was working for a healthcare insurance company from home. It was customer service. So I went from management down to customer service. It was like a big decrease, not only financially, but obviously my skill set. But it was something that I needed to do for the family. I wanted to be home with the baby, spend time, and not have to put her in daycare. It worked for a bit. Until I started to feel like I'm missing out. Like my schedule changed and I was working split shifts, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening. I wasn't seeing my kids before they went to bed. I was eating dinner by myself in this same office, four little walls, like by myself. And I started to feel very miserable. My husband and I, we were following Pace Morby and Jerry Norton on YouTube, which is what triggered everything in real estate for us. Yeah. So it actually was YouTube. My husband looking into Puerto Rico. He came across Jerry Norton.
Mm.
And so Jerry Norton was talking about his transition to Puerto Rico and real estate and so on and so forth, which in one of the videos, Pace was in. So the algorithm starts throwing you things like, hey, look at this. I started seeing videos of people saying that they were buying properties with like little to no money and things like that. And I was like, what? And so I started to look into it further, came across Pace. So we were like, okay, we're done watching all this YouTube University. Let's dive in and just join the mentorship. We already get a lot of free information from YouTube. Like, how much more can we gain from it? And honestly, it was the best decision we ever made. So jumped into it, and Paige started talking about transaction coordinators. This was 2 years ago. Now there's a whole bunch of transaction coordinators, right? Within sub two, there's over 300 transaction coordinators and counting because it's always growing. But when I started, there was about maybe like five, maybe. And so I remember watching Pace's videos and talking about transaction coordinators, you know, how much they can make and you can work from home and all that stuff. And that's when I started to get into learning more about transaction coordinating.
So you took that step. You took the step because that was way before even top tier had come around. So you were already like in it.
Yeah. So when we started to get into sub two, I felt like there was a lot to learn. Like, okay, and my fear was if a seller says yes, then what? Like, what do we do? Like, what if they start asking questions? I have no idea, and my husband didn't know. And so, yeah, so I was scared because I'm always the type of person like I need to feel like I fully understand like the process. I'm a process thinker. I need to understand the process in order to feel confident. And I didn't feel like I had that. And that's where when he started talking about transaction coordinating, how they handle all the back end stuff, I was like, I need to do that. The problem was there was no mentorship at that time. There was a TC that had he had a platform that you can join. You had to pay a monthly fee to be part of the platform and you would work on their deals. And so it wasn't really too much of like the hand holding. There was some, which really helped me understand. I'm the type of person, I don't need a lot. I can, you know, just give me a little bit of information. I take that, I do my research and I just keep expanding on that. And that's how I was able to, you know, get to where I am today. But when I did that, talk about risk. Like at that time, remember there was a huge financial impact that we went through. We didn't have a lot of money. And so I had to pay for this platform. And I'm like, well, how are we going to do this? And so I said to my husband, I'm like, I think I would be really, really good at it, but I have to spend money. Mind you, we already paid for the mentorship. We're, you know, doing the monthly plan or whatever it is. Now I had to spend more money to learn really the ins and outs and potentially make this into a business. And I wasn't fully thinking like this is going to be a business. I was thinking more of like I need to understand the back end. So I took my credit card and I'm like, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna invest it, and I'm gonna make money from this. Like I'm going to make it happen. And honestly, like I said, like real estate, transaction coordinating, all of that was like a complete change because I decided to take risk.
And did you start investing at the same time that you started transaction coordination?
Yeah, we started investing right away. Like we started learning and taking action, learning, taking action. Like we did not wait. And our very first property was a traditional deal. It was with a hard money lender. It's a condo that we still have till this day, 2.5 years later. We still have it. Learned quite a bit in that process because like people really weren't talking about like HOAs, stay away from them and all of those things. So that was a learning process for us. But yeah, that's how we started until we landed a sub two deal, which actually came from a wholesaler within the community.
Wow, man. So all of this, like literally a water hose. So you're like engulfed in one thing, but then trying to make it happen. And that way you can use that to pay for this and still got the kids and still got everything else going. Man.
Oh yes, it was a lot. A lot of changes in like a short amount of time. Like it was like the biggest stresses that you could face. It's like you have this pandemic that's going on. Everybody's inside the house. You're trying to navigate through that, trying to navigate through changes. But there was a light at the end of the tunnel because we freaking survived.
Yes. And I think during those times too, right, where Especially like right now, people are, worried about the market and like stocks and things like that. But really with creative finance, you don't have much to worry about. Like this is like a steady long-term goal to keep and nurture and just really take with you for as long as you want.
Yeah. So it's actually one of those things that it changes your perspective. Like you start to realize that everything that we've been taught is a lie. You don't need good credit to be a homeowner because you're taught that if you don't have good credit, you're never going to own a home. That's not true. At this point we have, I don't even know how many properties. I keep having the number 22 in my mind. We're well past that. 22 doors. We're well past that. Probably 30 at this point. But I never thought that, like, okay, you can buy properties without having credit. You can buy properties without having to use your own money. Like every time I heard of like investors doing that, I'm like, man, they have great credit. They have a lot of money in the bank. They're good. But like nobody was really talking about this. It gives so many people opportunities. It's crazy.
Could you tell us like perhaps a story about a challenge that, you guys had to face, especially during those early days?
Yeah. So I mean, one of the challenges is underwriting. Like really understanding what a full underwriting is. Now, we're not talking about a quick little napkin underwriting of like purchase price, how much I need to bring to closing, how much, the very basic. I'm talking about like really digging deep because in the beginning, you like the first deal that's presented to you, you're like, I want to take it. It's sub two deal. Seller said yes. Send me the contract right now. I'm going to sign it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of investors that do that. So those were the challenges that at first, like, you don't think about all of these other things like capex, vacancies, and this and that, like all of these things that can affect your cash flow. They're not accounting for everything else, taxes, insurance, and all of that good stuff. So I wish that like that was something that we knew in the beginning, but obviously you have to go through these things to gain the knowledge and the experience. And then you start to look at deals differently. Now you start to analyze them more in detail and you start to realize that now perhaps I need to align myself with an underwriter, which by the way, it is still not like it's one of those things where it's kind of like transaction coordinating in the beginning. It's not really talked about so much. You hear people talking about underwriters within the community, but it's not something yet where people are like, it is a must. You need an underwriter.
They're more about talking to the seller rather than figuring out, hey, does this actually work?
There's multiple components of like doing creative deals aside from the paperwork. It's extremely important. Yes, that's why you get a transaction coordinator. You want the seller to be on board with it. You want them to have a good understanding, but the numbers need to make sense, especially if you want to do this long term. So I feel like that's one of the things that need to be brought more to light within the community, like how important underwriters are.
Yes. In fact, underwriting was a huge role that played in my life when I first joined Sub2. I had so much more knowledge when I became a TC due to knowing underwriting, comping, actually getting into the details, figuring out the story of the property, right? And so that was really what helped me when I got into this.
I always encourage investors, like, especially if you're new, don't do this on your own. Like, these are the things that I went through. These are the people that you want to connect with to get it right. Because it's more than just like some people want to do it like, oh, proof of concept. I did it. Great. I don't care how bad it is. I just want to do proof of concept. It's like, I get it. And you can still do your proof of concept with a little bit more homework. So, like, let's get you there.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I mean, it's tough. It's not easy. It does take a lot of work, and sometimes people want to go the fast route and just like boom, fast pace down to the finish line.
Yeah. And so, what would you say would have been the biggest struggle? So, that underwriting was a huge factor. What would you say was the biggest struggle when you first got started investing?
The biggest struggle, finding money. Finding money was a struggle because, mind you, we're great. We're part of this community. We don't really know what to do except we're like taking in the content, we're learning and stuff like that. But in order for you to find money, you need to network. And so this was completely new to me. Mind you, I was in healthcare for many years. I worked for a corporate. I didn't have to network. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know how much networking opened up doors for new business and clients and money. And like, it just, the list goes on and on. So I remember in the beginning, like we would have a deal and it's like, okay, now we need to come up with 20,000. We don't have 20,000. Where's that money coming from? And so Irving, he's the, the people person. Cause at that time I was working from home. So I started to get into the shell of feeling afraid to talk to people and things like that. Now I'm way past that. But I was like this, like, I'm so afraid. Like, what if they ask questions? What am I going to say? Like, they're going to know that I'm new or I'm not on the same level as them. Like, I'm scared. I don't want to say anything. So he was taking the lead with that. And he faced challenges with that because obviously you're new. You don't have the credibility yet. You're still learning. At that time, there was private money lenders, but it was also one of those things where it wasn't like everywhere. I feel like the community has done this shift from like when we joined to now, where like there's a lot more connections and people like networking, or maybe it's just my mindset is different. I don't know. But that was one of the biggest challenges.
You just see a lot more opportunities. That's all.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But yeah, we got to the point that you start to get better at it and you start to build those relationships. And then what was challenging is now that not that hard.
Yeah. Why do you think it was important for you to go through those struggle?
I think that every challenge that we face in life, it happens for a reason. It really makes us a totally different person.
Yeah.
Like, let's just like even go back to like my early days of TCing. I remember having like 3 deals at once and I'm like, whew, oh my God, this is a lot of work. I don't think I can take anymore. This is a lot. It's very time consuming. From 3, I went to 5. From 5, I went to 8. And each time I kept saying the same thing. I don't think I can take on more because like this is a lot for me. And I didn't realize that that was a limiting belief on my end. We are very flexible people. Think about like a rubber band or like Play-Doh. Like you just like we're very moldable and sometimes you don't realize all of the things that you can actually do that we limit ourselves because of our mindset. We are the ones that set these roadblocks of like, I can't do this. I can't see myself doing that. But then you get put in a very tough situation and you have no choice but to do it. It's either you freaking sink or swim, pick one. And then you realize and you look back and you're like, wow, it wasn't that bad. It actually wasn't that bad.
I remember I just went through that this past winter.
And
I'm like,
you know what?
oh man.
You have to take what you go through. And I actually learned this like 6 or 7 years ago when I like hit rock bottom. I packed up my car. I lived in Connecticut, packed up my car, had family drama, getting depressed. Like it was bad. Went through a divorce, all of that stuff. And I was just over it. I packed up my car with my 2 kids, left to a state that I never even visited. Never even visited. Didn't have a job lined up. Didn't like really have like our own place. Nothing. Stayed with a friend for a week and from there got a job, got my apartment, like I did everything. But sometimes you look back and you're like, I was letting myself drown. And sometimes you have to take that, take a step back, just breathe, and then just look at things with a different set of eyes and see it like, okay, what is the world trying to teach me right now?
Yes.
This is happening because there needs to be some sort of shift.
Yes.
Whether it's me, whether it's my environment, whatever the case may be, rather than let myself get overwhelmed and consumed by problems and all of these things, I'm going to take that, try to decrease my stress as much as possible and just look at it like it's going to get better. This is an opportunity. Like if I went through that 6 years ago, I can tackle anything that comes my way.
Yes. Use that as your stepping stone from there to get higher. Absolutely. And what would you say, how did overcoming those challenges change you as an investor?
I feel like I'm a better problem solver now than I've ever been. Truly. Like, like I said, you're able to look at things from a different perspective. You look at those problems as opportunities. You are able to take whatever comes your way as a gift. It's a gift, it's an opportunity, and it's either you take it or you don't know when it's coming back around. So, and you're able to help other like sellers that are going through things and you're able to connect with them on a different level. Same thing with investors. We're all walking the same path of life. It's just, it looks different from person to person. And we need to be a little bit more compassionate and understanding. While it's not easy all the time, but everything that we go through, it translates into not only your personal life, but your business life as well. So problem solving, being flexible, being able to handle situations better, like all of those things.
Absolutely. I mean, I love what you said. Take it as a gift, because a lot of times we don't see that. We see it as it's just pain, it's just hurt, it's just struggle, survival. But in reality, all of that put together is actually a gift. Like you said, it is like, whoo, man, that's deep. Okay. And taking that and using that to build you up, using that to help others eventually too. So you mentioned, Irving, networking, building that role. Y'all are like an awesome team. And so for you on your TC side, how has networking and building relationships, played a role in that part?
Yeah. So with the networking and us, working together, we are able to tag team nearly everything. And like, I know, like, we hear this a lot from investors, especially the guys. They're always asking him, do you get your wife to like be part of the business and do this and do that? He's like, listen, man, I don't have to convince her to do anything. Like, that is who she is. That's who she is. So, it's amazing because, I have my strengths. He has his strengths. He leans on me for certain things. I lean on him for certain things, and we support each other. And it's, we bring each other business, because even though, yes, we have a business together, which is the investing and things like that, we also have our individual businesses. His is the lending side, and my side is the transaction coordinating. So we're business partners, and also people that just refer business to each other as well. And for other people that are viewing this and wondering, how do you guys work together? Like, are you guys killing each other? Is it tough? No, none of that stuff. Like, to be honest, like, there may be frustrations here and there where I'm like, can you like take care of this really quick? Because I really need it.
You get to know each other on a much deeper level too. That's awesome. And so, were there any like key people who helped you, especially grow? I mean, you don't have to say the names. I mean, you want to, by all means, share and just kind of who they are and what they did for you and how they helped you grow and be part of where you're at today.
Well, obviously, pace. Number one, pace. Because if it wasn't for this community, I would not be where I am today at all. I probably would still be in the, healthcare industry, definitely in a higher position. Probably would have been like the district manager or something big. I definitely would have done that in 2 years, because I'm always a go-getter. But I wouldn't have the freedom that I have, freedom and flexibility that I have today. So I definitely give him like 1,000% credit for that. And he always says, yes, but you took the action. Yes, Pace. But if it wasn't for you,
Yes.
we would not be here today.
Drawing those stick figures, putting the video out. Yep. All the way.
Exactly. And then Molly, of course, like,
Yes.
she was somebody that as Pace started to bring her up, like, I started to reach out to her. She was extremely helpful, all of those things. And then as I built my team helped me and continues to help me to be better. I don't know if they know it or not, but like, all of my business partners help me be better, because I'm learning from each one of them, everybody on my team, because now they're teaching me how to be a better leader and what I need to provide them so that they could be successful. All of those things help me.
Mhm.
Not only do they help me as a business owner or entrepreneur, it also helps me on the individual basis and how, I manage my day to day with my kids, my family, and things like that, because I'm learning how to communicate better. I'm learning how to be more supportive and things like that.
What's your approach to building strong and long-term relationships?
That's always hard. It's tough. But it's one of those things where I've always been big on seeing the potential in people. I am the type of person, if I see potential in you, I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you. I know you can do this. Let's get this done together. Like, what am I lacking in my business or my leadership that I can pull other people in to continue to be better and better and better? I'm able to see those things in people. So I've been blessed that, I've had the same business partner now for going on 2.5 years, which is Jay Holder. We added January, we added Jason probably a year ago at this point, and they continue to work with me. And, you've been on my team now, what, over a year, over a year. So, it's just really not treating people like they do in corporate America. You punch in, you punch out, you do this work for me, call it a day, goodbye. But seeing their potential and their value. Like I see you as you, an individual, not somebody that's keeping the seat warm. I don't want anybody to keep the seat warm. I don't need that. I want people that like kick ass. They want to grow. Like they have goals in mind. Like those are the people that I want to be around with. Like not just because it's going to benefit me on a business basis, but I want to be around successful people. I want to be around people that keep me motivated. Because I'll be honest with you, even as a business owner, there are days where you're not motivated and you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Literally, you get into like this funk, you get depressed, like just like everybody else. But when you have people on your team that like are making moves and like killing it, it's like, all right, let's do this. Wipe off your face. Let's get to work.
And I think that's so beautiful because on our team, and one of the partners of the team is, Jason, he mentioned one time too that we're allowed to feel those days. It's okay. Like it is perfectly okay. We just can't sit in it for too long, right? We definitely have those days because in order for us to grow, it's always stuck with me now. We have to be watered. And it means wiping those tears because those tears are coming out. It's because we're being watered. We're growing. We're going to grow exponentially after this. We're going through something that we're going to overcome.
Yeah.
And so that's so huge that we can actually have people there tell us, hey, it's okay. But you know what? You're going to get right back up again and you're going to go and beat it. Like, that's the people that you need around you. So really surrounding yourself with people who are going to, like you said, keep you motivated, keep you going, and just continue to work with you.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's not easy finding people like that because especially when like you go into like a new community, you don't know anybody, you're still getting
Yes.
to know people. Thank God, like I haven't had to like swap out partners or things like that because I've heard some horror stories about that of like business relationships that go south. But I really think that like we've done a good job of like knowing like our values. So like
Yeah.
I'm a Christian, my Jay's a Christian, January, like we're believers and things like that. And so we want to attract the same people and, people will have their own beliefs. That's fine. But at some point that can, not blend as well, I guess. So that's probably the reason why we've still been able to work this amount of time together, and just making things go smoothly.
Yeah. And you guys see the same thing. You guys are able to see something that's growth, that's whatever it leads the company. You guys have the same vision and you guys just build on that. So that's what's really important. That's so good. Let me ask. So if you were starting over today, what would you do differently?
If I was starting over today, what would I do differently? That's tough. I would probably learn how to network better because there's no manual on how to network. There's like people say, oh, go network. Network where? My neighbor's house?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? What does that mean? How do you even start a conversation like with a random person? How do you do that? So if I had to start again today, number one, I would find a mentor, somebody that like is willing to teach me, like, number one, this is how you find business. This is how you network. This is how you have a conversation. This is how you build your business. Like I would find a mentor. That would be probably the first thing that I would do to teach me what it is, how to run a business, the challenges that you face. If this isn't working, how you shift, like all of those things. Thankfully, like I'm a very flexible person. I'm like clay. So I'm able to adjust very quickly and keep it moving. But you cut the learning curve big time when you have a mentor, when you have, somebody that's teaching you the ropes of business and all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And because you're kind of like, well, what do I say? And how do I say it? Because a lot of times we got to brush up our skills. and
Yeah.
brush up how we speak, words we say, what, some things kind of maybe not good to mention, things like that. But at the same time, still be yourself.
Sound robotic.
Right. What's a daily habit that you do that's made a big difference for you?
Using my calendar. Yeah. Aside from being an investor, being a transaction coordinator, owning a business, being a real estate agent, I'm everywhere. On top of that, being a mom. So, I'm getting pulled in so many directions all the time. I'm on the go all the time. If it doesn't get onto my calendar, it is not going to happen. I'm not going to remember. So, really putting things on my calendar, like as soon as I think about it, it has been a game changer.
Yes. Nice. Time blocking too, knowing, hey, these are the things that I'm doing, and that's what I'm going to do. As an investor, as a business owner, you're not told exactly what to do by what time. You have to really hone in on your schedule and figure out what works for you to make things happen. Because no one's telling you what to do, when to do it, when to wake up, when to go to bed. No one's telling you anything. You got to do it.
Let me tell you, that's one of the things that I tell people all the time. I love what I do. It's given me the flexibility, it's given me the freedom. That does not mean that I'm starting my day at 11 because I felt like it. That does not mean that. Now, if more than ever, do I need to be disciplined with my time. I start my day at the same time every single, Monday to Friday, every single day. Start my day at 9 a.m., if not earlier, depending on what I have going on. End time, guess what? You can forget about that because every single day, is just unexpected. You can be lucky, end your day at 3, or you can finish your day at 11 at night. Like you just never know.
Yeah.
But I still have to be disciplined. And I know that I have things that I need to do. And I know that I need to get certain things done by a certain time. Nobody's telling me those things. Nobody's setting these timelines for me. I'm doing it for myself because I know what needs to get done. So, just being very disciplined is key. And any business that you do, really, if you want to get into business, you have to make that mind switch. Like I'm no longer clocking in, but I have to act like I still am.
I feel like it's kind of like how we as TCs are. We're always on call. Yes, there's flexibility. Definitely. We can do wherever we want, whenever, essentially. However, in order to do it, we're still on call. If something happens, like we need to make sure that we're there to help and attend to. And I think that's also like one of the things that one of the misconceptions is that people think, oh, sunshine and rainbows, and I can do whatever I want. And then nothing gets done. It's like, no, you got to set something for you. Like you have to know that you have to be accountable of yourself.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because obviously, I'm moving in 7 weeks. I'm moving to Puerto Rico. And so people are, oh my God, but how can you still handle files and how can you do this? Listen, I make it work. Okay. I plan ahead. I know when I need to get things ready. I know when I need to focus on deals. I know when my closings are. I know, I need to prep my emails the night before or whatever the case may be, or even text messages. Oh my God. Remember I told you, like, you can schedule your text messages, game changer. So, I use all of those tips and tricks so that nothing slips through the cracks. Because at the end of the day, I still need to do my job, even though I'm flexible enough to be able to do multiple things at once. I still have to keep myself accountable.
Yes, absolutely. And so, what would be a piece of advice that you would give someone feeling lost or unsure where to even start?
Great question. I get those questions quite a bit from people that are like, "Hey, I'm looking to launch my business. I feel stuck. I don't know what to do." Number one, whatever you plan on doing, do your market research, whether that's real estate, whether it's transaction coordinating, whether that's beauty industry, whatever the case may be, do your market research and then be a consumer of that industry. You need to be a consumer, right? That's how you're going to know what the customer service is like, what fees look like, what the process is like all of those things. If you don't know that, then it's going to make it extremely hard. And that's why you feel stuck because you haven't done your homework. Do your homework first, be a consumer, and then you can start building out your business because now you've seen what it's like from the customer's perspective. And now you're able to improve either what you saw when you didn't like and scale from there.
Yeah. And mind you, you did all this while still working your W-2. You started everything while working your W-2.
Oh yes. Yes, I sure did. Yeah, and it was very hard because I was customer service and it was nonstop phone calls, back to back to back to back. It was crazy. On top of having a newborn. My husband was still working in the military. He was gone. So I was home with the baby, customer service, and learning something new. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to get on the call with the title company. All right, my lunchtime is in 15 minutes. Go punch out for my break really quick, make a phone call. And so I would take like advantage of every moment that I had to be able to do both things. And like I had two laptops, one for work, one for teaching, and I was doing both at the same time. Very hard, but I was able to do it.
Wow. And mind you, I know a little bit about that where you said you were able to leave it within how long?
I think it was like 3 months in or something like that. So I knew that I wanted to leave my W-2, but it was scary. If I leave my W-2, I really have to make sure that I'm going to make this happen because other than that, what am I going to do? Go back to work? So took advantage. I always laugh when I say this because I'm like, it sounds shady and I probably shouldn't have been doing it, but it is what it is at this point. So they were closing down our department and they moved us to another department and we were in the training phase, which means I didn't have to be on phone calls anymore back to back during this training phase. So because it was virtual, everything was on Zoom. And so they're teaching you all of these things. And of course you have like your practice stuff that you have to do and I would do it. And that training lasted, I don't know if it was like 6 weeks or something like that. And during that time, like I said, I was still working. I was getting my clients. And like month one, I had like X amount of clients. Month two, I had more clients. And month three, so I started to see that things were increasing. And I saw the potential there. I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right. And so I'm going to keep scaling this. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And so I remember the day came and they're like, all right, guys, we're done with the training. Time to get started. And I was like, crap. I wasn't even paying attention these whole 6 weeks at all. So I was like, I don't even know what to do. So I already felt confident enough. Like, I know what I'm doing on the TC side. I've already built my clientele. I'm getting busy. I'm getting busy. So they're like, all right, guys, we're going to switch over so that we can get started. In the middle of the Zoom, I went click, hung up. They started messaging me, Jennifer, are you getting back on? I'm like, no. I emailed my manager. I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. So sorry, but today's my official last day, blah, blah, blah. Like I was nice about it. And it was like a complete shock. We were like, what the heck? And so I sent a message to Irving. I'm like, that's it. I quit. I did it. And he's like, dang, there you go. Like he was so happy for me. Like, because it was something that we were talking. We knew that the day was gonna come. We just didn't know when.
Yes.
And so like I felt like, all right, I'm jumping. I'm jumping this ship and I'm just going to make it work.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow. Talk about a leap of faith, right? But mind you,
Yeah.
this is definitely, you worked for it. You didn't just say, okay, I'm going to do this. Now I get to do, be done with this and that's it. And then just like, no, you built it while still doing this other business that you didn't like. So you weren't in a place where you felt appreciated, where you felt happy, where you felt like this is where I belong. This is what I want to do. You still stuck to it while building something that you wanted and that you knew that was meant for you.
It's funny because I told you I was in management for a very long time. I was a practice manager, or an office manager, and I went to customer service. So I had asked this new company, how long does it take? I don't want to be in customer service forever. Like I want to be able to move up. Yeah, you're going to have to wait a year before you can apply for another position. That's not me. I'm sorry. I always set myself a goal 3 to 6 months max in a position before I'm able to get promoted. I've always had that mentality and it's always worked for me. 3 to 6 months max, I'm already getting promoted to something else. So when they told me a year, this is not for me. You guys are not for me because now I'm being held back. Like I already know everything like in this role because it was a small role, it's the same thing every single day. Like I'm at my capacity or sorry, I feel like I'm being limited because I can do more and I'm not being used. Like I want to be able to use my skills. And you guys are telling me I have to wait a year. No. So that was like, I am so over corporate America. Like these people just they don't understand. They don't understand. They just take advantage, and in some places they hold you back from growing. And it just I feel, and this is probably gonna sound funny. I feel like a plant or like a flower. If you put it in a place where you're stunting its growth, like you don't want it to grow, it's going to stay like that. Like
Yes.
I want to be repotted somewhere else and just flourish and grow. Like I've always been like that since I was little. So getting out of that corporate America phase was like the best thing ever for me, because now there's no stealing. There's no stealing here. Like,
Yeah. Just keep repotting it, right?
exactly.
Man. Wow. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you
Really?
taking the time, and I can't thank you enough to like for giving me the opportunity that you did. I mean, it's life changing. And I know that like it's all about getting it. It's all about getting out there and making sure you're wanting to make it work. How bad do you want it?
Right. But you know what? Like it it's people like you, B, that you like since I met you, and I remember I was thinking about it the other day. It just came to our interview. You interview a bunch of people, and sometimes it's a blur. You don't remember. But I remember the conversation I had with you, and I remember you saying, "I just want to be useful. I want to feel useful. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I just want to be able to do something." And oh my God, this girl, like she has the hunger. She wants to do it. And from that day until now, you have not lost that. You still have that hunger. You still have that drive. And regardless of what life throws at you, you continue to push. And I love that, because it honestly reminds me of me. All the things I went through, I continue to push. It's not a big deal. I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going. And that's you.
Thank you. Oh,
Don't get
thank you.
emotional on me.
I know. Man. Seriously, it takes a lot of effort, but like I said, it's how bad do you want it? And I think a lot of listeners out there, I'm sure they want it. It's just putting in the action, putting in the effort, taking action and actually do it. Because you can say it, you can talk about it, you
Right.
can think about it, but until you actively do it, move your body, do it, whether if it's starting with affirmations, writing those out, getting your calendar set up, like putting in the work, learning how to network, talking to people, meeting people, and figuring out, okay, what is it that I need to learn to make more conversations? If this is where I want to be, this is not just that's that. There's still room to grow above that. And how do I continue from there? What do I need to do? So constantly asking yourself, what else can I do? What else can I do? So thank you again for coming on and coming on. And
Thank you. Thank you.
yes, I look forward to, people really learning from this episode and just taking everything that you said. And so, guys, start networking, start learning, start researching out there, and find someone who inspires them. I know I did. And so, where can people follow you? Where can they, see and learn what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook. I'm just Jennifer Cortes with an S. It'll probably be very impossible for you to find me, I'll be honest, because my name is so popular. It's common. Everybody has my name. So it's kind of hard to find me there, but you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is boss lady underscore Jen Cortes with an S. So JENNCORTES. So you guys
With
can
an
find me
S,
there.
guys. Okay. Make sure you know.
Yes. Not with a Z. Not with a Z.
All right. So thank you everyone for coming on. I really hope that you took something from this episode, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Bye.